The Echoes of Betrayal. My name is Richard Hayes. I was born into a world where expectations and appearances often overshadowed reality. From the outside, my life seemed perfect: a successful career as an investment banker, a charming house in the suburbs, and a wife who was the epitome of grace and beauty. Her name was Laura. Laura and I met in college. She was a literature major with a passion for classic novels and a smile that could brighten the darkest day. I was captivated by her intelligence and warmth, qualities that drew me to her from the very first conversation we had. We started dating during our sophomore year, and it didn't take long for me to realize that she was the one I wanted to spend my life with. After graduation, we both embarked on our respective careers. Laura became an accomplished editor at a renowned publishing house, while I climbed the corporate ladder in the finance world. Our careers kept us busy, but we made it a point to nurture our relationship. We traveled, dined out, and shared our dreams of a future together. 2 years into our marriage, we bought our dream home in a picturesque neighborhood. The house was everything we had hoped for: spacious, elegant, and perfect for starting a family. We hosted gatherings, celebrated anniversaries, and created a life that seemed enviable to others. But beneath the surface of this ideal existence, cracks were forming. I was consumed by my work, often staying late at the office, attending networking events, and chasing promotions. Laura, on the other hand, had her own challenges at work, but she managed them with the grace I had always admired. As the years went by, the distance between us began to grow. Laura's job required her to work longer hours, and I was frequently tied up with business deals and projects. Our conversations became routine, limited to logistics and daily updates. The spark that once ignited our conversations and interactions seemed to dim. Laura's demeanor changed slightly at first. She became more reserved, and her once vibrant enthusiasm seemed muted. I attributed it to stress and fatigue from work. I tried to be supportive, but my own work commitments left me with little time and energy to delve deeper into her world. It wasn't until I noticed her phone habits changing that I began to sense something was amiss. She was more protective of her phone, often taking it with her to another room. She started going out more frequently, claiming it was for work-related events or catching up with friends. I trusted her, but the changes were too stark to ignore. One evening, I returned home early, intending to surprise Laura with a special dinner. I found her in the kitchen, preparing a meal with a distracted air. She greeted me with a forced smile, and we ate in relative silence. I tried to initiate conversation, but she seemed preoccupied. The tipping point came when I noticed a series of missed calls and text messages on Laura's phone. The messages were from someone named Mark, a name I didn't recognize. They were affectionate and filled with inside jokes that seemed too intimate for mere friends. My heart raced as I confronted Laura about it. She looked startled and defensive, trying to brush off my concerns with a hasty explanation about a new friend from work. I wanted to believe her, but the mounting evidence was hard to ignore. I decided to investigate further, hoping to find clarity. Over the next few weeks, I kept a close eye on Laura's behavior. Her absences from home increased, and she often seemed distracted when she was around. One day, I followed her, driven by a sense of dread. I trailed her to a cafe where I saw her meeting Mark. They were seated close together, their body language suggesting an intimacy that went beyond friendship. My heart sank as I saw them share a kiss that betrayed the trust we had built over years of marriage. I felt a mix of anger, hurt, and disbelief. I wanted to confront them right then, but I chose to wait, hoping to gather more information. A few days later, I confronted Laura. I demanded to know the truth about her relationship with Mark. The confrontation was explosive. Laura admitted to having an affair, explaining that it had started as a friendship but had evolved into something more. She said she felt unfulfilled and neglected, and Mark had provided the emotional connection she was missing. The confession was devastating. Laura's tears and apologies seemed insincere in the face of the betrayal I felt. I struggled to process her reasons, finding it hard to reconcile the woman I loved with the one who had broken my trust. Our argument ended with Laura pleading for forgiveness, claiming that she wanted to work through this and rebuild our marriage. But how could I trust her again? The foundation of our relationship had been shattered, and the pain was too raw to ignore. I decided to take some time apart from Laura to think things through. The separation was difficult, filled with sleepless nights and endless introspection. I sought counseling, trying to make sense of my emotions and understand how to move forward. Laura reached out frequently, expressing regret and a desire to mend our relationship. She attended therapy sessions, hoping to demonstrate her commitment to repairing our marriage. But trust, once broken, is hard to rebuild. Every gesture, every apology, felt hollow against the backdrop of her betrayal. Our separation extended into a legal battle as we decided to part ways. The process was painful and messy, filled with legal jargon and emotional turmoil. Our once shared life became a series of disputes and negotiations, each one a reminder of what we had lost. The divorce was finalized, and Laura and I went our separate ways. The aftermath was a period of intense self-reflection and growth. I focused on my career, seeking new opportunities and challenges. I also took up new hobbies and spent time reconnecting with friends and family. As time passed, I began to heal. I accepted that while the end of my marriage was a painful chapter, it was also an opportunity for personal growth and renewal. I learned to value myself and recognize the importance of trust and communication in relationships. Laura and I occasionally crossed paths, but our interactions were cordial and distant. She continued her relationship with Mark, and while it was hard to see her move on, I came to terms with it. Years after the divorce, I found myself in a place of peace and contentment. I met someone new, a woman named Sophia, who shared my values and passions. Our relationship developed slowly, built on a foundation of trust and mutual respect. Sophia's presence brought joy and stability into my life, and I was grateful for the second chance at love. As I reflect on my past, I realize that the journey through betrayal and heartbreak was a profound learning experience. It taught me about the fragility of trust and the resilience of the human spirit. While the pain of the past will always be a part of me, it has shaped me into a stronger, more compassionate person.